Peace, love, and light to you listening to my voice. Welcome to the Resilient Path, where life meets spiritual truth. I am Fran E, and this voice-led series is for the bold, the broken, and the becoming. On this path, we turn struggle into strength, pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, tears into testimony, and confusion into clarity. We walk in truth, we speak with love, and we acknowledge, honor, and serve the Spirit of God. Today's message is part 5 of the final series of the spirit of Cain and Abel, recognizing the spirit and breaking the cycle. Cain and Abel may have been the first, but their spirits are still among us. In how we live, how we love, how we react to correction, and how we respond to someone else's favor. And if we're going to walk in the Spirit of God, we need to know how to recognize the spirit of Cain before it takes root in our homes, our churches, our communities, our relationships, and in our hearts. How to recognize the spirit of Cain. The spirit of Cain does not always harm with hands. Sometimes it hurts with words. I must pause here because I see that in myself. I am an honest person. I do not sugarcoat things and I do not pretend. Over the years, I realized that my delivery, my tone, my bluntness can be harsh. Not because I want to hurt anyone, but because I've always been that no-nonsense, tell it like it is kind of person. And while honesty is part of who I am, I also had to recognize that sometimes truth without grace can still leave a scar. I had to self-reflect and ask God to help me with my words and delivery, to speak life even when I'm speaking truth, to correct without crushing or hurting someone's feelings due to my delivery. So I'm not just talking about Cain like he's some distant figure. I am acknowledging that some of that spirit, that edge, that impulse to react sharply can live in me too. And I am still working on that with God's help. So once again, as I state, Cain basically does not always come like just hurting, like taking the life of his brother or harm with hands. Sometimes it's also with sabotage. It's with silence. It's with slander, with withdrawal, and passive aggression. The spirit of Cain gets irritated by people who are walking in light. Not because they have done wrong, but because their presence reminds others what right looks like. The spirit of Cain will grow angry when it is corrected, blame others instead of owning fault, crave recognition without submission, discredit those who operate from an authentic place, mass envy as spiritual warfare, when sometimes it is just personal disorder. How to guard against it? The only way to guard against this spirit is to do what Cain refused to do. Examine your heart. Search me, O Lord, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalms 139, 23-24. The spirit in today's culture, the spirit of Cain is all over. It shows up in the culture, in art, in music. We have seen it recently right in front of us. I was up front and present. I had stayed away from social media and all that stuff for a while, but it just so happened that for some reason, I ended up getting right smack in the middle of the rap battle between Drake and Kendrick. Most people only saw entertainment, lyric, streams, hit. I saw something deeper. The modern Cain and Abel looks like Drake versus Kendrick. Drake is polished, celebrated, at the top of the industry. A practiced artist known for his catchy hooks, highly successful, but driven by image, ego, insecurity. Appearing as someone who always needs to be crowned. Just listen to his music. And then you have Kendrick, highly successful, intentional, focused, spiritually layered, lyrically prophetic. You get the sense that he's not chasing validation, he's chasing purpose. Listen to his music. And just like in Genesis, Cain brings something, but not his best. Abel brings his best, his heart, his truth, his sacrifice. Drake's bring a talent woven in vanity. Kendrick brings a gift, real and raw, layered with his own experiences, his environment, his culture, battles with himself and knowledge of God. It was not only a rap battle, it was also a spiritual clash. My question to you, who is listening to my voice and this message, what spirit do you carry? The spirit of Abel, which is one of reverence, faith, and a pleasing attitude towards God, or the spirit of Cain, which is one of jealousy, envy, anger, selfishness, pride, and a rejection of God's correction and grace? With that said, are you bringing God your first and your best? Even if no one claps for you, even if you do not get the title, even if your offering goes unseen? Or are you secretly looking left and right, measuring your value by someone else's favor, and missing your own assignment in the process? Cain refused to see the invitation, but you can clearly see this invitation that if you do what is right, will you not be accepted? Yes, you will. Because God is still accepting Abel's, still warning Cain's, still watching every offering, not for the size, but for the spirit behind it. So today, let us break the cycle. Read the Bible. Ask God for wisdom and understanding. Acknowledge God. Surrender your life to the Creator. Knowing trials and tribulation will come, but they come for a reason. As the word says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trial of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And again, blessed is the man who perseveres on the trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. You can find these verses in James. Use the story of Cain as a lesson. Ask God to remove everything in your life, every thought, every emotion, every pattern that is not aligned with His word from your mind, your heart, your life, your spirit. Just think about that for a second. I'm staying here. You can ask God right now to remove all of that right this minute. You don't have to wait for this to end, you can ask right now. You have been listening to The Resilient Path with Fran E. May your spirit stay strong, your mind stays clear, and your heart stay open. If this message spoke to you, like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can also contact me at WitAdleyVibesRadio.com for more content, inspiration, and update. Keep walking the path of truth, peace, love, and light.